Hogstye.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hogsty. I am sure everyone is still, on cloud nine from that Hail Mary victory. It was a fantastic moment, and we're going to talk a lot about that. But we were just talking about before the show started, and I wanted to start with it. The situation that happened in the World Series, because Steve's beloved Dodgers are in the World Series against the Yankees. Now I'm not a Yankees fan, but my father was, my uncle was. I come
Sorry to
from a
hear
family
that.
of New Yorkers, so they were
Sorry
all
to hear
Yankees
that.
fans. Uh,
That's unfortunate.
it is. I mean, I'm a Nats guy because it's my local team, and I grew up an Orioles fan because, again, local. But that situation that happened last night with the Dodgers Yankees
By last
game,
night, you're talking about Tuesday night,
yes, game 4.
which is game 4.
Yeah. With the guy trying to rip the glove off a player when he's catching a foul ball. It was Mookie Betts, right?
It was Mookie Betts, yeah.
Mookie
Yeah.
Betts.
Just unbelievable. Like, that's worse in a way than when a fan runs on the field during a game, in my mind. Because when you're on the field, it's like harmless narcissism.
They're
This is
not
actually
really
trying
they're not trying to interfere with the game. They're trying to get
Right.
attention.
Right.
Where this guy, typical New Yorker, is trying to mess with the game itself.
Right.
You
And
may not like Mookie Betts catching the ball, but you need to let him catch the ball.
Right. And he had caught the ball already anyway. So
Right.
it doesn't
Don't
matter.
rip his glove off.
Right.
Well, see, I think the worst part is that his buddy, when Mookie Betts was reaching over to get his other hand over, the guy next to him grabbed his hand and prevented him from bringing his glove.
Yeah.
And you can see his wrist bending back. It's like I'm surprised Mookie Betts didn't get hurt and all that.
I'm
was
gonna
like,
have to
dude.
stop calling Philadelphia the city of hate because like that is so like rude northeasterner
Low
thing.
class.
It
move.
is.
Right.
And it reminds me so much of, and they're doing the same thing with this. Remember in '96, the ALCS, when Orioles were playing the Yankees and the kid caught the foul ball and interfered with the game?
I thought that was the Cubs.
No. The Cubs was the other guy who did it.
And even that guy was not being a jerk about it.
No.
You know.
No, but
I don't remember what you're talking about.
All right,
no,
so in the
I do not.
'96 World Series, and that actually wasn't a foul ball. I think it was a home run where a kid reached over to catch a home run ball that was still in play. And it ended up costing the Orioles getting to the championship game that year, getting to the World Series, because it became a home run when it was going to be an out. And that kid got like Key of the City award back then.
Yeah.
Same thing's happening here. It's just like New York be better. Like these guys, they should have been
better.
Yeah, you should have been going, Goomba on them.
Now, fortunately, in this case, it didn't matter because the Dodgers
Yeah.
just totally died, late in the game, so it didn't matter
Yeah.
at the end of it all. But
No, it
Now-
didn't in that respect.
Now, I assume you guys saw the faces of at least the one who was trying to rip the ball out of the glove, right?
Right.
they were proud of themselves.
When I first, I swear, when I first saw that face and I first looked at him, I had a flashback to the Goonies and Sloth when I first saw him. That's
he
what
does
that's
look
what
a
I
little
saw.
sloth-esque, yes.
I don't remember exactly who that is in that movie, but I'll go along with it. Yes, sure.
Steve, you can Google sloth while we're talking about it. I propose a very elegant solution because I don't think some people say they should go to jail. I don't think it's that extreme. It's
not
still
a
sport.
Yeah, no.
I think the fair thing is they should have to stand at home plate, both these guys, and then who's the Dodgers' best pitcher this year? Who's got the best fastball?
Well, I mean, let's go with Yamamoto.
Okay, Yamamoto.
Okay, Dave is showing me the picture of Sloth. Yes, that guy, that was the guy, pretty much.
Yes, Dave is holding up Sloth right now. Yamamoto
Great
should
movie,
get
by the
one
way.
fastball at each of them. Can't hit the head. Let's be nice. But anywhere else on the body's fair game. They both get hit by one fastball from the Dodgers, and we call it, fair after that.
I don't think those meatheads would even know if they hit him in the head, though.
The one guy definitely doesn't look like there'd be much to lose. That's for sure.
No, not at all.
He might have some cousin brothers in the family, is what I was
Some
thinking.
cousin brothers, yeah, but, yes.
Yeah.
That is very true. Yes.
Yes. All right. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about, though. Oh my gosh, what a game! What a game!
Wait,
what
hold
a
on.
game.
Should we play Hail to the Redskins here?
I might have to dig it out of my files, but if I can find it, we'll have Hail the Redskins going on in the background while we're talking. At least at this moment, I'll try and remember.
Right. Yeah, I don't mean the entire hour, but I think that's a moment that's worthy. I'm not re-recording this to Hail to the C words or whatever they've changed. I don't know if the music has changed, but it is what it is. I'm not.
They changed the lyrics and they don't fit, which is awful. It's just stupid.
So we're sticking to my version,
yes,
which has no lyrics. So
okay. Yeah, it's an acoustical guitar. It's beautiful.
It's not an acoustic
or
guitar,
electrical
it's
guitar. It's just a guitar, no lyrics.
Right, because I can't sing a note mainly.
Right. None of us can sing.
No,
that's not our game.
My point is, I think we had to insert it here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go.
All right. There we go. All right. So there was such a range of emotions in the final minutes of this game. Like, we could go through the whole. Washington dominated mostly defensively for 3 quarters plus in this game. Really impressive showing by the defense from start to about maybe it was like the last 30 seconds of the third quarter when they scored for the first time, the Bears, on a play that should have been a hold, by the way. They got away with a big hold on that hold.
There was there were a lot of missed calls in that game.
Yeah, there were
a lot of them.
It was a let them play kind of game, I guess. But Washington played really well defensively. Only 9 points at that point. Didn't love that. I guess 9 points at the half.
Yeah, 9 points at the half. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't put up a lot offensively, but Jaden Daniels coming in hurt. I didn't think he was going to play up until they announced it.
I don't know if he should have played.
Yeah, he had a decent game, but not his usual self. It was clear. Especially when you look at his accuracy numbers and things like that. So why don't we do the numbers real quick?
Yeah, let's get the stats out. All right.
Yeah.
So Jaden Daniels was 21 for 38, 326 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked twice, quarterback rating of 97.2, no interceptions. Brian Robinson was the leading rusher, 16 carries, 65 yards, 4.1 yards per carry. Austin Ekeler was 7 for 52, 7.4 yards per carry. That includes his long of 29. Jaden Daniels is 8 for 52. Receiving wise, Terry McLaurin was 5 for 125 yards, 8 targets. He was the leading receiver. Zach Ertz was next, 7 for 77 yards. Noah Brown was 3 for 73, 1 touchdown. John Bates 1 for 20. Brian Robinson 1 for 11. Luke McCaffrey 1 for 8. De'Ami Brown 1 for 6. Austin Ekeler 2 for 6. On defense, Quan Martin was the leading tackle with 11, including 9 solo. Bobby Wagner was 7 tackles, 5 solo. Frankie Levy was 6 for 4. Benjamin St. Juste 6 for 4. It goes down from there. Austin Seibert missed a field goal, 4 for 5. I believe that was the first field goal he's missed all year. Second? Okay.
Yes.
Tress Way was 5 for 214, which is a lot for him for this season. Caleb Williams for the Bears, 10 for 24, 131 yards, 3 sacks, quarterback rating of 59.5. Leading rusher was DeAndre Swift, who was 18 for 129, including a long of 56. Caleb Williams is 9 for 47. Leading receiver was Rome Odunze for 3 for 41. Keenan Allen was 2 for 39. DJ Moore 2 for 27. And it goes down from there. And so and Chicago punter. Would anybody care to take a stab at how many total yards the punter racked up?
I have not looked it up, so I'm going in blind here. Can you at least give me the number of punts?
7 punts.
7 punts. I'm gonna say 268 yards.
Okay, Dave, you have a guess?
I would say probably around 243 yards.
Neither of you are anywhere close.
What?
341 yards punting.
Goodness.
Yeah.
That's actually a really impressive night too, punting wise.
I will tell you what, I watched that kid. I watched how he punted. I can confidently say he's probably the best punter in the league. I mean, his placements and what he was doing and how he was placing it. It was just insane. It was like Tress Way a few years ago when he was just placing them wherever he wanted. That's exactly what he was doing.
And for the record, this punter did outpunt the entire Chicago offense, which had 307 yards of total offense compared to 341 yards punting. And that is stats, but I love playing the punting game. It's my favorite thing to do.
The punting game is a fun game.
We have to just turn it into the other team because Tressway barely punts in the
Anymore,
this was a heavier game for him, as
it
you
was.
said.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
And look, Jade Daniels, like we kind of said earlier, at times probably didn't look like his old self. I don't think he was definitely not 100%. I was impressed with how much he was running the ball. I thought it was smart how he was basically going first down out of bounds almost all the time. You know, he wasn't trying to pick up extra yards because he's clearly not, you know, trying to get hit. But the accuracy, the drop off in accuracy was noticeable, obviously.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think it's due to his health. You know, you
Yeah.
can't be totally accurate when you're in a great amount of pain. You know,
Right.
It's not a
Right.
surprise.
If you're needing to get reps every time you're on the sidelines, and then get them to take the gauze off again or whatever they're using to wrap it up, that you're clearly not 100%.
Well, I mean, his accurate 21 for 38 is 55%.
Right.
And
Not a
55
terrible
and
day.
change. Well, that's not good, but for his standards, that's far
No.
lower than anything he's
No,
done.
it's 20% lower than his average
Yes.
through the season, which is pretty significant when you think about it.
I mean, I put a poll up on our Twitter page
Right.
that morning just to see if it would get any traction at all. And the question was, right, forgetting about the future potential, right now, today, who is the better quarterback? Is it Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, or are they about the same? And I don't have the results in front of me, but the last time I looked at it, it was Daniels by a mile. I don't really know if that's true. I don't know if I agree with the majority. I mean, right now, today,
Taking
they
into
might be
account
about
the health
equal.
is
Yeah.
what you were saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, however you want to look at it. Right now, today, there was a health problem. But even if you eliminate the health problem, I mean, Daniels is great. You know, I'm leading the charge on how great he is. But, I mean, Marcus Mariota looked pretty darn good against the Panthers.
I'm going to side with if I was taking the health thing into consideration. If you're talking larger than that, I got to agree with the majority.
That's fair. I mean, it's fair. It's just a question.
Yeah. No, it is just a question. No, no harm with it. But I do wonder if they put Mariota in, or at least early on in this game, maybe like get things settled a little. I wonder if he would have, been able to get some of these touchdowns in the red zone or anything like that.
I think that one, I believe it was on a 61-yard pass play to McLaurin, was one that Jayden Daniels eluded the rush and had that leap over top, wasn't it? And then he threw the ball 61 yards right there.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, he was eluding the rush at one point to get that throw off. I don't think Mariota does that. I mean, he may elude the rush, but I don't think he drops the ball in there like that for a completion of anything. He may just drop it down short of the dink somewhere. I think on that Hail Mary throw at the end of the game, I think Mariota, once he rolls out to the right, I think he winds up probably potentially getting sacked or doesn't get over in position like what Daniels did to get reset and make that throw downfield. Plus, I don't think Mariota has the arm to throw at 60, 65 yards in the air either.
I do think he can.
I think at one point he did. I just don't think he has it like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but
I mean, we just haven't seen him do it, so it's hard to say. When he was in there for the prior game,
it's just that what little I saw him in Atlanta when he was there, it was just like everything just clearly dropped in terms of what his arm strength was and everything. Now, I mean, it could just been in the environment, the system, scheme, and maybe he didn't have. I mean, maybe he just wasn't the fit there. He didn't want to be there, whatever. It could be all kinds of range of excuses. Maybe he was battling some kind of injury. I have no idea. But
who knows?
Yeah,
but I didn't mean to stir up a whole big amount of trouble. I was just curious what anybody thought, about it.
So, to me, this game is obviously a tale of the first three quarters and then that last quarter. I'd like to. I mean, I kind of gave my thoughts early on. What did you guys kind of think of that opening first?
Well, the truth of the matter is, Washington did not play very well in offense.
No,
they didn't. They got in the red zone multiple times, had to resort to field goals every time. that they had penalties hurt them, they had mistakes hurt them.
They
They
put up
didn't play
big yardage numbers, but
they didn't play a clean game, and I think that's the story of the offense in this game against the Bears. It was
Yeah.
not one of their best efforts. They actually are pretty lucky that the defense did their job, that the Bears made mistakes on their themselves. It wasn't a game that needs to be on a highlight reel, with the exception of the last play, of course.
I think when it comes down to the first half, and this is where I think I was the most frustrated, because they were averaging 7.6 yards per play, which is only 0.6 yards off their season average. I believe it was like 8.2 of their season average. They were averaging 4.7 yards a carry in the first half. They were moving the ball effectively. The Bears were not stopping them. They were pushing downfield, but every time they got in the Bears territory, like you had once again, you had Andrew Wiley with a false start. You had see, there was a questionable ineligible man downfield that took away the De'Ami Brown pass.
I didn't think it was. I thought by the letter of the rule, I think that was not a questionable call. It just didn't. Redskins fan, Washington fans didn't like it, but I think it was the right call.
Well, no, the point, what I was saying is that because I believe it was Algier that was one that committed that foul. He was the only guy coming downfield the way he was. It was almost like he misunderstood what the play was supposed to be, because it was a clear play. Well, in my mind, it was a clear play. When I saw it, it was meant to go take it downfield, but it wasn't. But it was meant to kind of show like a screen to the side. You know what I'm saying? And then he went right downfield right away for that pass inside the 5-yard line. So Algier was the only one that actually went downfield, and he got the ineligible. That's what
Who are you talking about? Algier?
Nick Algier, Allegretti, whatever his name is.
Allegretti, yeah.
Allegretti, there we go.
You're making up a name. That was totally wrong.
Yes.
Allegretti, also known as Algier. How about that?
Okay.
So,
as long as we can define the terms, I'm fine.
But it was almost like he thought it was going to be a screen, but the rest of the offensive line wasn't thinking that, because nobody else even made that push downfield like he did. So
but even if it's a screen, Dave, technically he can't get that far downfield. That's the issue.
No, that's true. But to me, that's just part of the mental aspect of the game. He did what he wasn't supposed to be doing. It was the same thing with the false start, false start on again by Andrew Wiley. It's just the mental errors killed their drives, because you had that false start that called back a clear touchdown. It would have been by Robinson off to the right side.
Yeah.
And it was like and that's what killed these drives. It was mental mistake after mental mistake. And that's just what I'm talking about right there. So that's what frustrated me.
It's called not playing well. It's what
you're
right.
Not playing.
I think that I know they like doing the hurry up offense and substituting in the hurry up. They got to stop. I think that's actually hurting them a bit with these false starts. That one false start in particular, where they were in the red zone and they did a late substitution, and literally the Bears guy that they were substituting in was still like trotting over from the sideline and was technically offside still when there was 1 second left on the clock. And then they had that false start.
But did you listen to the explanation Tony Romo provided?
Yeah, I did.
It made a lot of sense.
It does, but that's why I don't think they should be doing it. They shouldn't be doing these late substitutions, because it's screwing up your ability to get the snap off. It doesn't give Jayden Daniels time to look at the field and say, all right, let me, figure out if this is man or zone from what I'm seeing. Like, they're not getting that kind of time right now when they do those late substitutions. It doesn't help them.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm watching.
You're watching the game too. I see it.
Shohei Ohtani has been absolutely atrocious in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
He just struck out on 3 strikes, on 3 swings, 3 pitches, 3 swings with the bases loaded and no outs.
Well, he just got done popping his shoulder out too. I mean, he's favoring it. He probably has a minimum.
He was not good before that. He's like something like 1 for 15 or something like that now, or 2 for not 1. But
I mean, there's a couple of guys who haven't like big names who haven't played well in the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, but continue.
No, in that, by the way,
Yeah, it's
that
listen,
happens.
it's the Dodgers with three. What do you?
Yes,
I've got to watch it.
they are your team. We
Yes.
get it. You love your Dodgers. Steve, the worst day of Steve's life was when he found out he couldn't have Dodger dogs anymore.
I'm not
right,
that
aren't I?
picky about food though, so
Yeah.
I mean the Dodger dog it's probably more myth than reality. It's probably just another Aramark hot dog.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
and it's
Okay.
been a billion years since I've had one. So
So anyway, so the first half, I think we all agree they didn't play well on offense. They had a lead, which is fine. Like you can't really complain too much if your team's up by more than a touchdown at any point in a football game. But they really could have and should have had 20 plus points off those early in the first half, frankly.
Dave hit it on the mark before. Almost nothing more needs to be said. It's the small mistakes
Yep.
that end these drives. That is, I totally agree with you in that analysis.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. And my concern with this is, was this an off night, off afternoon? Is this going to continue? What is the true nature of this team? And that is something that they need to work on.
Right.
Look, the Giants aren't a good team, but it's still the Giants. And if you play like that, eventually it's going to come back to haunt you, and they're going to lose a game they should win.
Right.
And the Giants, for all their issues, which are especially bad on offense, their defense can play well when you need to, in a very similar way to Chicago, in that they'll give you yards, but if you are getting down towards the red zone, they go bend up but don't break. That's what they did versus the Steelers last week. The Steelers had a bunch of chances in the red zone where they ended up with field goals. So, the Giants are going to play you the same way in a lot of ways.
I've never liked the term bend but don't break. What that basically means is you aren't very good.
No, I know. It means
it's code for you kind of suck.
It's code for you kind of suck, but you also don't let people score a lot of touchdowns.
Because you kind of suck, but you don't totally suck.
Right.
It's not a strategy. We don't go, men, we're going to be a bend but don't break defense here.
No, you become one because you have to.
Yeah, because that's all you can do.
I don't know. I think Jack Del Rio coached that for 4 years.
That he's doing it intentionally?
Yes, I think he was doing that intentionally. No doubt about that one.
I think he was coaching a bend and break defense.
There was a bit more of that. There are coaches who really adhered to that philosophy, I think, like 20 years ago. I'm with you. I don't think it's a good philosophy necessarily.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
We're going to do the minimal amount of effort necessary.
Right.
It's okay to get a D, son, on this test. That's what it is.
All right. So, as bad as the offense was, the defense played great. Caleb Williams looked like hot garbage.
For most of the game, he had his moments.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But for those first three quarters, especially, hot garbage. There might have been one moment in those 45 minutes, but not more.
Well, at halftime, he was 3 for 8 for 33 yards.
Right. And then I think he had 4 completions at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah. And yes, not good.
No. So, then that fourth quarter rolls around. I don't know what clicked for the Bears, but they started getting a run game going. They, put up those 2 touchdowns.
I mean, even that, if you take away that DeAndre Swift run,
right?
I mean, they only averaged, I believe, 4.2 yards a carry anyway. So it wasn't like they were killing the defense. No. I mean, they were still kind of moving the ball, but they were doing a lot better job in the second half than the first half when they were only averaging like 3.2 yards a carry, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely a big difference in terms of what they were doing in the run game.
Yeah, but I think the real question, it all comes down after those 2 touchdowns, 23 seconds left, the range of emotions that at least Dave and I probably have. Steve has no emotions, as we know. So Steve
I'm unemotional.
Yes. Yeah, Steve probably was like, "Oh, this is all happening. Yay." Uh,
That was kind of my
Oh,
reaction.
yeah,
it's like, oh, touchdown, great, going to bed now.
right.
No, I didn't go to bed. It was like, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
No,
Okay, so you were
He's not on East Coast time.
so you were getting your pajamas on, getting your hot tea, getting ready for bed.
No,
Same
I
difference.
was sitting up doing the work of the hog sty, actually.
Right. And maybe making dinner,
I did do that.
Yes. uh, but all right, Dave, I'll take you through. It felt like a kick in the gut, that after that second touchdown, and you see those 23, 24 seconds, whatever it was. And just that moment of euphoria when they scored the touchdown. I threw the remote from the TV. I couldn't find it for a half hour. I don't know how it got to the other end of the room like it did. After all my, yelling and shouting, I found I was lying, stomach down on the ottoman, like, a foot from the TV, just like watching replays. Take me through what happened with you.
Okay, so when the Bears went up 14-12, all I did is sit back and go, I cannot believe we let this game get away from us. I'm running through everything in my mind.
And you're
First
at your seats
half,
in the
everything
stadium.
going on. Yes, I'm in my seats right there. I'm saying all that. And in the meantime, got these Bears fans to the left over here going, you know what? Reaching over, hey, it was a great game anyway, man. As in, like, hey, we won the game, but trying to be respectful about it. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I
Right.
shake his hand,
I'll
move
give
on.
them credit
I'm going
if they're
through.
being
I did.
respectful.
They were,
Yeah.
when they were all smiles and all happy. And, and then when we got the ball, I had the Bears fans behind me going, it's like, we played the Packers far too long. We know that I've seen this happen before. And I'm just like, I know what he's talking about. I'm like, yeah, but this doesn't happen in Washington. I'm going, this is crazy. And then
We
when
don't have Aaron Rodgers yet. We don't have Brett Favre yet.
Correct. So then when they got the ball up, they got McLaurin with the out, 2 seconds left. I'm sitting there. I got that, that rail that's sitting right in front of my seat right there. I got my arm around that. I'm sitting there with my right hand over my head going, rubbing it up and down, figuring, this is not happening. I can't believe this is happening. And the ball launched, comes over, it tips. As soon as it tips, it took about probably 5 minutes in my head for it to get to Noah Brown's hands, and I'm saying in my head for like 5 minutes, it feels like 100 times, don't drop it, don't drop it. He catches it. I launch up. My wife thinks I'm going to fly over the railing because how I launched up. I'm screaming, and I'm high-fiving, hugging everybody and everything. And, of course, to the Bears fans to my left, I look over, I go over, hey, listen, it was a great game, man. The one guy shook my hand. The other one wouldn't even look at me. He was in such disgust. And you could tell he probably wanted to reach over to the little guy and just kind of strangle me out a little bit, But I was literally cheering and screaming and just doing so much. It was like I literally felt like I was going to black out. My wife at one point had to kind of like put her arm around me just to hold me. I was literally feeling like as if I was drunk, basically. It was crazy. It was
True
a great
euphoria.
moment. Yes, it was. It was a great experience, something I relive in my mind, and what's great is that there's this one gentleman across the aisle whenever there's a touchdown scored. It started later last year, because I reached over to him, started high-fiving him all the time, and then now it's like whenever there's a touchdown score, he looks for me, points at me, I point at him, high five. We do all that every game. Well, after this touchdown, I look over. He came down the aisle, was standing right in front of me, and he's like 6'4", and I'm like 4'10" and a half, So
Right.
It's like
4'10" and a half. Don't lie.
He's added a half inch.
He's added a
Hey,
half
why
inch.
not? So he actually grabs me and hugs me. I hug him. He actually lifts me off the
Did you
ground.
grab his knee? Did you grab his
Huh?
waist? I mean, did you have to?
Actually, I did grab his waist. I was pretty close to that. Yes, and I'm sitting there, and it was just great. The whole moment was fantastic. It really was.
So Steve, we need to get Dave a safety harness, and
We need
possibly
to get him a safety helmet too. One of those child safety helmets.
a helmet. I was thinking, Do you know anybody who could get a bungee cord, like a short bungee cord for him, just
I
in
could
case he
find a
were to
bungee
go over
cord.
the edge?
Sure, I could find a bungee cord.
Or you know what? I could just bring my grandson's car seat and just put it right in that seat, and my wife can just strap me in.
You need the helmet either way,
Oh.
though.
Yeah. We'll make it Commanders themed. We'll make it burgundy and gold or something.
There
You know.
go. That'll work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd even be willing to pay for it out of Hogsty funds if you would wear it, if you would actually do it.
What?
But-
What? A helmet?
Yes.
Okay,
And
Like a
Commander's
child's type safety helmet, though. It's not like a bike helmet.
your 5-year-old is learning how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
You gonna get that little propeller thing on the top too?
Maybe. Look, here's the thing about that play in all seriousness. The throw itself is kind of lucky, right? I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You throw it into a crowd, it gets tipped. It went the tip the right way, lucky. But the great part was the play beforehand. Remember the
Yes.
situation. So there were 6 seconds left on the clock, and they were at what, the 40-yard line ish, and that would have made the
30.
pass.
They were at the 30.
Yeah, it would have made the pass 70, 65, 70, 75 yards, which is not possible, especially for hurt Jaden Daniels. Any quarterback, probably not possible.
Right.
The fact that they hit about 12-yard square out
To
in
McLaurin.
4 seconds was something that not every quarterback could do. That was the key. And then you throw in the fact that Jaden Daniels is able to scramble for a significant amount of time and then
13.
reset
Mm-hmm.
on the final play, which is also something they wouldn't do. So I wouldn't. The result was great in that, but again, I mean, every Hail Mary is kind of lucky.
Right.
The genius of it were those two things ahead of time. That is what I think people should focus
Well,
on. They
see,
haven't.
Well, see, also another aspect to that too is that corner, Tyreek Stevenson, when he's showboating down the sideline, and the play
Jawing
starts
with
going off.
fans.
He should have been there. Yeah, I'd blame him
Well,
if
see-
I was a Bears coach.
His responsibility, from what I understand, he had end zone responsibility, so he was
Mhm.
supposed to be standing there with Noah Brown. But when he realized a play was going on, he just ran to the crowd, and he was the one that tipped it. And he tipped it right to Noah Brown's
Well,
hands.
I mean, have the
So-
sense of professionalism to not celebrate before the game is over.
Yep.
Yep.
And-
It goes with guys who run for a touchdown and drop the ball before they get to the end zone level
Yep.
thing, It's that level of you started celebrating too early, man. Just
Yep.
a little too early. You said, well, two things. One, it was 13 seconds, that scramble. That's an insane amount of time for Daniels to be scrambling on that play. And he ran one of those advanced stat sites. Broke
Yeah,
it
I
down.
saw that.
The total run was 40 yards. That's how much he was scrambling in the backfield, going back and forth till he threw the ball, which, those are some, crazy numbers just for a scramble. You say it's luck, and there is a lot of luck involved, but you do have to set yourself up for luck in the end. And that's where that play before comes in hand. It's where these guys practice this box out drill, this diamond pattern on the Hail Marys. They practice this stuff knowing at best it's a 5% chance, right? To make a Hail Mary.
I don't think it's even 5% chance.
Yeah,
Unless
it might
you're
be
Aaron
low.
Rodgers.
I'm just it's a very low percentage number.
Very low
Yeah.
percentage. Yeah.
But you gotta make sure that when you need to get lucky, you're in the best position to get lucky as you can be. And that's what they did. They did it perfectly. And Jane Daniels is I saw this just before we started the show. He won the Airing Ground Player of the Week for quarterbacks. That's
Right.
Not Player of the Week, but whatever it is, Quarterback of the Week, I guess. He's probably gonna win Rookie of the Week again.
Yes.
I saw Caleb Williams not in the voting this week for Rookie of the Week.
Not surprising.
Yeah, Adam Rank says it's rigged. That's what I'm.
So you're
I'm
saying he put himself in a position to get lucky, which is a fair way to saying it.
Yes,
Right.
that is a fair way to say.
I can say I'm not in a position to get lucky. Oh wait,
Right.
I'm sorry. We're that's a whole nother subject. Forget that. Forget I said that.
No one hesitated. No one said no, Steve. You're fine.
But actually, I will say real quick for the Rookie of the Week, pretty much I love Jaden Daniels getting it. I'm sorry, but they should have gone to Tyrone Tracy from the Giants because he went against one of the better run defenses in the league and he tore it up against them. He was fantastic. He had a touchdown, I do believe, and everything. He should have gotten that this week, to be honest with you. But back to Washington.
Well, I can't imagine what Jaden Daniels would have to do wrong at this point other than get hurt and not play to not win the Rookie of the Year award at this point.
Yeah, because this will be, I think, his 6th Rookie of the Week award.
Something like that. Yeah.
The record is 9, and if he stays healthy, he's gonna break that. He'll probably smash that thing.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah, man. Like, just the range of emotions. The city was ecstatic and electric the next day. Just like everyone at work, people who don't care about football were talking about it at my office. Like it was that level of thing. Because that doesn't happen to us, right? We don't win on Hail Marys in Washington. We lose on them all the time.
Would everybody like a description of my personality that seems to probably apply to this situation? So the Dodgers are playing right now as we speak, as we said.
What's the score?
5-5.
Oh.
But they came back. So the Yankees scored a couple runs in the first inning. I text messaged my Dodger friend at the end of the first inning, and I said, on to game 6, because I'm Mr. Negative. And he writes back and says, not so fast. And I said, need you stop being so negative. Here's the response. That seems like a lifestyle change bigger than baseball. I can't argue with him. I really can't. I can't argue with him.
He's
right.
All right. So we have some other things we want to talk about. We want to talk about this coming game with the Giants. So we should wrap this up and do some game balls. So I think I went first last time. Dave, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Or do we need to vamp for a minute for you to come up with some names?
No, I'm good.
You're good? All right.
I'm good. I'm going to start on the defensive side. I got to give it to Johnny Newton, what's his first name?
Zahir?
John.
Zahir.
Yeah. Okay.
Zahir Newton.
It's not Zahir Newton. It's like
Johnny Newton.
Just say
go with
Newton.
Johnny Newton.
Yeah,
Newton. Johnny Newton. He was disruptive all game. He was in the backfield. Dan Quinn put in for that one tackle for a loss, so he's trying to get the change to a sack. That
was officially changed, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, it was officially changed. There you go.
Yep.
He was everything Jonathan Allen has ever been plus. I mean, he was in there. He did a fantastic job of this game, and he was he projected high round pick. Who knows what he's going to be going forward? But this game alone, he gets my game ball defensively. And on offense, got to give it to Jaden Daniels playing through the pain. He came in with some key runs, scrambles, and throws that he had to make, like the 61 yard to McLaurin on second and long. Dropped it in there. I mean, he wasn't his best game in terms of completion percentage, but overall, I thought he had a great clutch game for Washington. So he gets my game ball.
For me on offense, it's going to be Noah Brown. I get it. I mean, we've given Jaden Daniels multiple game balls. Noah Brown caught the game winning.
It's actually my first one I'm giving him, actually.
I've given Jaden Daniels a couple of them. But Noah Brown, he caught the game-winning ball. He's got to get it. And I think on defense, I may go Bobby Wagner this time. He didn't have the most tackles, but he made an impact on the game in a way that multiple times in a way that he really hasn't so far this year. And he kind of looked like the Bobby Wagner of old. It's like the old Toby Keith song for those of you who are country fans, which I'm really not. But, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was. That kind of applies to Bobby Wagner. And today we saw that I'm as good once as I ever was, or this past weekend. So Bobby Wagner.
I'm going to agree with Steve on the offensive game ball. It does go to Noah Brown for me. He got in the right position to make that game-winning touchdown. We were talking about luck versus doing the things to make yourself lucky. He did the thing. He got in the exact right spot to make it happen. And played his role perfectly there. I'm gonna give an honorable game ball to the fans for distracting
What?
for distracting the Bears cornerback, so they get an honorary game ball for that. I
You're
don't know
gonna
if
give
that's
the
offensive.
fans an honorary game ball, really?
If you distract a player enough where he misses a play, yeah, you get a game ball.
I mean, I've given game balls to other teams, so I guess you can give it to the fans. I guess.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say that's an honorary offensive game ball.
Okay.
On that case.
Wouldn't that be an honorary
defense-
defensive game ball, not an honorary offensive game ball?
See, that's the question. Is that a defensive or offensive?
Well, sure. They distracted the opposing quarterback. That's a defense.
See, but they did it, and he's a defender, so it's offense.
And they did it for our offense.
Yeah.
So
I don't
It's a
remember.
pon-
I guess
it's
I
a-
don't
it's
even remember
one to ponder.
what even play you're talking about, to be honest.
On
That
the
you
Hail
mean
Mary.
the play? I thought you said Caleb Williams.
No,
He
no.
distracted.
The
Oh, you're
corner.
I was
the
okay.
cornerback.
Oh, I
corner.
thought you said distracting Caleb Williams. I was super confused.
No.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely an
offense.
offensive game ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Defense.
I'm trying to
defense,
watch a
I'm gonna-
baseball game while I'm talking. This is
Yeah,
probably a problem.
all right. We'll give Steve a mulligan on that one. I'm gonna just to add a different name. Quan Martin really starting to show up and show that he is a really good safety for this team.
I refuse to admit that he's not a bust.
Well, you can refuse for a long time, Steve, because I think he's going to be our starter.
I
for a
don't think
couple of years.
you guys understand out there the capacity of my stubbornness.
Yeah, but
anybody's
actually, Steve, technically, he was drafted as what? A corner or a safety?
He's a bust.
Yeah, he was
he's a
drafted
corner.
as a corner.
Yes.
He didn't make it as a corner, so he was a bust as a corner.
Why do you think I'm
switched
not willing to
positions.
admit he's not a bust? He's a bust.
But see, that just means you're not wrong. You got to play it that way. That's all. It's not stubbornness.
I see what
It's
Dave's
technically,
doing.
you're right.
Yeah.
I
not
want it to be
stubbornness.
Don't tell me I'm not stubborn, Dave.
Steve, you are
Yes.
stubborn. You are, and you have to accept it.
I do not have to accept it. Don't tell me what to accept.
Thank you for playing that perfectly.
I figured that's where you're going with it.
All right. So the funny thing, of course, watching a lot of the reactions to this game, just real quick, if you want a good time, just look for Bears fans' reactions, Eagles fans' reactions to the Hail Mary, like all these idiots who post their reactions online. I don't know how many of them are fake, but they are fun to watch. All right, so some things we got to talk about league-wide. Trade deadlines this week. Washington hasn't made any big moves yet. I think the talk has always been defense, or do they go for another wide receiver? That kind of stuff. Do you guys think they'll make a trade before the deadline?
Probably not. If they do, it ought to be a corner.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I have no idea who that would be. I don't think they will. I think they're probably going to ride it out. And by the way, during my weekly scan of our Twitter page, I saw some idiot put on our Twitter feed that they had a trade for Chase Young. What idiot is that, Alex, that did that?
That said that we should trade a 4th round pick for Chase Young.
I got
and a
it.
2nd round
I got
pick?
I understood what you were saying.
Yes.
You're still an idiot, okay? Do not
First
bring
off,
that
do you
dude
think I
back.
was actually being serious?
Yes,
No.
I did think you were being serious.
No, that was meant to be a joke, because who would trade Chase Young in a 2nd round pick for a 4th round pick? But I value Chase Young so little, I need extra to take him.
But
That's the-
I don't think they ought to take him no matter what is offered. I'm
Uh,
I
100%
don't-
serious. You do not want to go backward. This guy that
the
toxic.
funniest
I
thing is
don't think
how
you have to worry
many
about that.
people reacted to that and freaked the hell out.
Did they freak
Yes.
out?
It might be our most engaged post of the year. People who one don't know how to read, apparently. I don't know how many you.
Well, I
you all
saw
need to
one
go-
comment. The one comment I saw, the person thought you were doing something you weren't.
Right. So a lot of people seem to think I was saying trade a 2nd round pick for Chase Young,
Which is
insane,
not what you were
right?
saying. Yeah.
No.
I did think you were being serious about like basically saying if there was some good enough deal, you'd take Chase Young back, and I do not think Washington ought to do that if anybody has that
No,
thought.
I think Chase
No.
Young is a cancer. I'm not taking
Yeah,
him back.
right.
Yeah,
So to answer the trade question,
not Chase Young.
no, not Chase Young. But I would, if there was a corner that came available, I would probably do that because I do think, in spite of the fact that they handled the Bears, they need
Right.
secondary help.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know
I
who that
know.
would be, but
Well, I know if it comes to a trade, I think that there is a likelihood that they do make a trade. I think the only way that they make a trade for a corner is that they're able to get someone like J.C. Horn, someone like that I talked about before from Carolina, who's young and you get a long-term deal, or even someone like Newsome or Ward out of Cleveland. I
I
mean, they're
was about to
younger
say Ward
guys.
myself. I mean,
Yeah,
Cleveland seems to be on some kind of fire
yeah,
sale to a certain extent, and so if they're willing to get rid of Denzel Ward, I would do that. I
yeah.
mean, obviously it's a price factor, but that's a guy I think you could bring in and he could
But
really help the defense.
But if I'll tell you one thing right now, I can almost guarantee Peters is not drafting draft assets for an older player that's going to be going after this year. That's just not going to happen. The
Yeah.
only guy that he might do that for is Darius Smith from
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland, who is a fantastic edge rusher. And if you can get someone like that with the way that our middle of our defense is starting to play, and you get someone out there, that might be worth throwing like a 5th-round pick out there for to complete that front seven right there. Because that's all that front seven is really missing, in my opinion, is a true elite edge rusher, and Zadarius Smith is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is they probably shouldn't have traded Montez Sweat last year. They
No,
probably should
I
have
agree.
kept him
Yeah.
because they do. I think they are lacking talent at the edge rushing position. I
Right.
think I think you're right about that one. That's another thing they should do. Again, I don't know who it would be, but I wouldn't. I don't think I would mess with the offense. I mean, it's no, they're kind of a no-name offense a little bit once you get past Jane Daniels and
Terry, yeah.
McLaurin. Yeah, McLaurin, but it's working. Don't mess with it. If it's working, they have one of
No,
the
I
best
agree.
the most effective offenses in the league. Don't mess with it.
My
Just leave it
my
alone.
only thing with the offense is, and it might be this is a long-term problem. They do need to find another big body for when they're in these goal line situations. So someone else to be a big receiving target, another running back. I don't know what it is, but they seem to be lacking something in the goal line, some oomph, an
Well, they
ability
need
to.
some offensive linemen too. I
Yes,
mean, but they're
linemen might
not
be
gonna.
part of that too. Yeah.
But they're not going to trade for an offensive lineman.
No, people don't trade
Starting
offensive line.
no.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Ben Sinnot's that guy they want that to be in the future. What
I
you're
think it
talking
is.
about
Yeah.
right there.
You
But
might have a point there.
So, but he's obviously has to pan out for that, obviously. But
Yeah.
but I agree. Offensively, for last couple of weeks, I was on a T. Higgins. But you know what? Leave T. Higgins in Cincinnati. I think we're good where we are because Jaden Daniels has commanded this offense all the way around, and everyone trusts him.
Yep.
No need to throw in a skill position player that's typically a diva guy to unseat all that when you don't need to.
Right.
I
And
agree.
chemistry matters. It does.
Yes.
All right. So the other thing we want to talk about, big picture, the rest of the season, we're at the halfway point. We have 9 games left. And I'm pretty sure I have this right. By now, I think I had us at 7 wins. You guys had us at 6 wins apiece.
Mm-hmm.
So, we need to do a quick reevaluation of the rest of the schedule. Go back and I didn't want to go back and look and listen to figure out how wrong we all were. It just would have been.
We were way wrong.
We were all
Just
very,
suffice it to
very
say
wrong.
that. Yeah.
Right. So I want to go through the second half of the schedule and we'll do a redo for everybody just for fun of the wins or loss for the rest of the season. And then we'll quickly talk about the Giants game, I guess, and we'll be done. So that is the first game, though. Giants, we got to go to New York, and I'll be up in Albany trying to watch the game while I'm celebrating my grandmother's 90th birthday. But, family does come first. So
Does it really though?
they should. But
Probably so.
yeah. All right, Giants game. We all think win now?
I think win.
Yes.
All right, this one's probably a real matchup. Steelers after that.
Right now, I think We're playing them at home. We're due for a home loss. Steelers are a very good, well-coached team. They have great rushers on that team. They have a very strong secondary. I think we lose that one in a close one. I think we still end up losing against the Steelers.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be a loss. The Steelers are 6-2. They're a good team. Yeah, I think
Mm,
that's a loss.
And Russell Wilson's playing really
he
well
is.
right now for them. So.
Amazingly enough.
If you had asked me 2 or 3 weeks back, I would have said this is a win. Now I'm thinking loss. I think that a lot of people are probably in that boat, right? All right. So next one, Eagles, and that's after a bye week.
That's another loss. They're not going to go. I don't think they're going to go. It's not a bye week. It's a Thursday.
Thursday,
Oh, right.
it's a
It's
short
a
week.
Thursday.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go into Philadelphia. They're going to be really amped up. Philadelphia's still Philadelphia. They're 5-2. I don't think they're going to go in and win that game. I think it's a loss.
Well, right now their offense is getting fully healthy again. Right now, they both have their receivers in. Barkley's a beast right now. That offensive line is still one of the better units in the league, and and they're still going to struggle on keeping Jalen Hurts at bay. I think they'll move the ball against Philadelphia. I think offensively, I think we're going to do well against them. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, something probably like to a tune of like 34-31 type of game.
Yep.
Win or loss, though?
Oh, loss. I think it'll be a loss.
Okay.
I'm going to just contrarian here. I think this is a win. I do think that the Eagles, Washington are probably going to split, but I think it's going to be one of those weird ones where we split at each other's homes for what, how those happen. And it's always fun.
When I see I have a typo on our scheduling thing this year, I put both of them at Philadelphia. So that's that's clearly wrong. So is this game, the week 11, a home game or not?
I don't have the actual schedule in front of me right now, but I can find it real quick.
Yeah, Thursday night game at Philadelphia.
Okay, all right. So the other one is a typo. I'll fix that later.
Yes. All right. Then the Cowboys. So another division game. Could be interesting. I don't know.
I don't know. The Cowboys have a lot of problems this year.
Yeah, they seem to be falling apart quite a bit.
Yeah, they kind of. I know I called this one as a loss when we did the original game preview. And Washington seems to never play well against Dallas. Kind of historically. But Dallas really does have problems. So I'm gonna weirdly be optimistic, which isn't my nature, and say that they actually win this game, and because they would have lost 2 in a row under what we were talking about here.
Yeah.
And they're not going to want to lose 3. So I think they go into Dallas and win. And the other thing is, I mean, they're going to have a mini bye on this too.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I agree. I think Dallas is going to come in, and you have a bit of a Dan Quinn factor to this too as well. I think Dan Quinn, he's relatively familiar with everybody on that offense. He's going to have to scheme up the defense as well as it needs to be against Dak Prescott. I think he's going to force some turnovers, and I think we actually win this game pretty handily, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you guys that it's going to be a pretty obvious win as of right now, based off what we're seeing. Dallas is falling apart, it looks like, before our eyes, which is just fantastic. Doesn't it make me
I can't say I hate him the way I used to, honestly, but it's still fun to see him fall apart.
Yeah, it really is. By the way, I haven't looked at the Cowboys schedule. It could easily be a situation where the Cowboys are coming in to play Washington, loss at that point.
I think the NFC East is shaping up to be an Eagles-Washington race.
Right.
Yep.
But
I
before
agree.
they play Washington, they have to play the Falcons, Eagles, and Texans. Those are all 3 losses for the Cowboys, too. So, they're going to be on a heavy losing streak at this point. All right. So after that, Titans, I think we all can just agree it's a win, right? It's
Titans.
I think it's a win.
Titans are awful. So
and Will Levis sucks, for the record.
Yeah.
Well, he's not playing.
I don't think he's playing. I just mean generally, Will Levis sucks.
In general, yes.
I said from day one, Will Levis sucks, and shockingly, the Titans didn't listen to me.
No. At least they didn't draft him in the first round like Anthony Richardson got drafted.
I said Anthony Richardson sucked too. People need to
Right.
start listening to me, my quarterback stuff. I'm
I-
weirdly good at the quarterbacks analysis.
I agreed with you on Anthony Richardson. Like I thought he might be interesting as like a 4th-round
Oh,
project.
trust
but
me, I think most of the football world agreed with you on that.
Yeah, I don't understand how anybody was like pick him at number 4, but oh well. Wasn't us.
Regardless. Yeah.
Saints. This could be a more interesting game. I feel like I know they've kind of fallen apart, but they obviously showed they have some pieces, right? Early on in the season.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, the Saints aren't a good team. Washington has not stooped down to its competition this year. You know, so I don't think they're going to start now. So they've won the games they should win, and so I think that they'll probably win this game as well.
And the Saints and the Saints defense is not generating turnovers and that's been their bread and butter for them to be a good defense. They have not been doing that effectively this year. And offensively they're very, very erratic. I don't think they have outside of Kamara. I mean, Olave has been playing injured most of the year, so he's constantly in and out. I think we win this game as well.
Yeah, and by the way, there is a bye week between the Titans and the Saints. I forgot to mention that's when our bye week is here.
Very late.
I'm with you. Yeah, late bye. But I'm with you guys. It's a win. All right, Eagles at Washington at this point.
Well, I think Steve and I have them as a win on this one because I would think we're going to split, and then you're the opposite way out, right?
I am, but I don't know if Steve thinks we're going to split.
That's a tough one. I mean, I think you don't remember what I picked. I'm sure I picked a loss in this.
I'm sure you picked a loss at this point. Yeah.
I don't think I have enough information yet to determine, like, to any degree of certainty in my head. So absent that, Philadelphia's tough, man. I mean, they're a Super Bowl contender. Late in the year, they're going to need to win. I'm going to have to go loss here too.
See, I'm going to go win on because I think their defense is nowhere near where it was last few years. We can move the ball on them, and I think they're going to generate in this game. I think they'll generate the turnovers from Jalen Hurts they'd be unable to do in the first matchup, and that's going to be key. And I think the score is basically going to be flipped. Almost, it's going to be like a 34-31 type of game. I think this time Washington.
Yeah, and I'm sticking with what I said earlier. I think that they split, and it's both teams win on the road type split for some reason. All right, Falcons is the second to last game of the season at Washington.
I think this one. I think the Falcons are going to be playing for the division because I think I believe they are. I recall correctly. They're 5-3.
They're 5-3 in first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to be playing, and I'm ignoring the whole Kirk Cousins factor. I think that's overplayed now. But I think offensively, what they have in the running game, good offensive line, the passing game, and they have a good defense. I actually think that the Falcons pull this game out in a tight game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're totally crazy for saying that. It seems like the Falcons are the Falcons. They ought to be bad, but they're actually not bad. They're in first place. Cousins is a strange guy, but he's a fairly quality quarterback, even though Washington fans are afraid to admit it. He is. It's tough for me to say a new young team like Washington is going to pull out these games at the end of the year when it matters, because a lot of times it takes teams like a year or two to kind of learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
And whereas Cousins is a veteran, I'm probably going to have to go loss here too. So that would make it 2 in a row.
All right. I'm with you guys. I think it's a loss. Also puts me at 2 in a row. At this point, I don't know. I think the Falcons will probably. You know what it really is to me? Well, Washington and Philly might be battling out for the NFC East championship still at this point. The Falcons definitely are battling it out. That's a much closer race to be the top dog in the NFC South, I think, by this point. So I think it's a loss too. And then we're on to the final game versus Dallas on January 5th. Just so you guys know, I think we all have Or no. Dave has one more win than Steve and I. So Dave has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think I have 4 losses, so I think I would put at this point Washington at 10-6 heading into week 18.
You have them at 10-6. Dave and I both have them at 11 wins already. So if we're going into Dallas with that many wins, and it probably still is like win to determine if Washington is
they're
going
to need the game.
Or not.
They're going to need the game for a playoff seeding.
Right. No, they're not going to be resting starters at this point.
No.
Yeah. Unless Philly falls apart somehow, and then they might.
They start off 10-1 last year and collapse, so we never know.
Yeah. So, all right, final game then. Where are we all?
I think I'm going to go win here. Dallas is going to probably be out of it, and Washington will need a victory, so I'm going to go win.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys would be dead out of the water. I think they're out of the playoffs, and I think they'll be resting. Well, not really resting, but just getting ready to move on to their vacations, whatever. So yeah, I think this is going to wind up being wins. So that's 6 wins down the stretch from me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. They're going to be done. Washington's playing to either be the NFC's champs or maybe even possibly playing for that first round bye. Who knows? We don't know what things will be like, but we all have them at 11 or 12 wins. Like that could be good enough to be the first in the NFC. We never know.
I don't know. I think this is Detroit's year altogether. Anyway, I don't think they're going to be the high with the Super Bowl. Yeah,
probably Detroit's year, but like that.
I get
what I'm saying is 12 wins is a lot of wins.
Yeah,
that could get you there. So, regardless, I think we're all much more bullish than we were now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
All right, we should very shortly talk about the Giants and then go. Giants game. Giants looked terrible versus the Steelers on offense. Their defense at least somewhat played well. You did mention, Dave, earlier, their running game was pretty good, Giants.
Well, right now, Tyron Chase is in concussion protocol, so there's a chance he may not even make the game.
Oh,
he didn't practice today. And if he doesn't practice tomorrow, most likely, he's probably not going to be ready for the game. Mm-hmm. And after that, they have I forget his first name. His last name is Gray. And he's more of a journeyman, decent running back. So the running game, I don't think we're worried about. Darren Jones, we don't have to worry about. Their edge rushers, we have to worry about. Sure. Their defense with Dexter Lawrence up the middle, we have to worry about. Yes.
Right.
But outside of that, I think their offense won't do much against us, and I think we'll do enough on offense.
They still have Devin Singletary on that roster as a running back.
Is he back and healthy though?
He played last week.
Did he play last week?
How healthy he is.
Okay. If he played, he's back. Go ahead. Sorry, Steve.
So look, here's the keys to this game. First and most important thing, Washington needs to calm down. Don't suffer a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
They had a heroic game-winning Hail Mary. A lot of times teams, especially young teams, do not know how to handle that. And they will play badly, especially even more so against a team they perceive to be weaker. And so I think Washington, the first key to the game is they need to forget about what happened last week. Focus on the task ahead of them. Can they do that or not? We'll see. That's one. Two, the focus of the Washington defense needs to be the Giants running game. Singletary. I think the Giants understand that Washington has run up and down the field on people. If I were the New York Giants, I would want to extend drives, slow the game down. They are not going to win a shootout with Washington. And so I think they're going to lean heavily on the run game. Now, the Giants aren't that good on a run team, okay? But the Giants aren't that good of a team, period. They don't really do anything particularly well. But Singletary, he is a runner, and he's decent. So I think they need to – the Giants are going to lean on that, and Washington needs to stop it. And then the last thing is I think Brian Robinson needs to get more carries. It's time. Jayden Daniels is injured. He's still on the injury report this week.
Limited.
Limited. He needs to stop running, and they need to focus on getting more carries with Brian Robinson. He's earned it. He has. So those are my keys to the game.
I would add to the run game Austin Eckler as well, just because, if you're going to go run heavy, you want to have that change of pace guy, and he's a very good option, and they haven't used him the last 2 weeks very well. My key to this game, if you're going to score, you're going to score from the 30 to 20 range, not getting down into the red zone and trying to power the ball in against the Giants. The Giants' best player on defense is a really, really big fat guy in the middle, who's very talented. So trying to run the ball on like first and goal, second and goal, third and goal is not a good plan. If you want to score, it's going to be 25-yard passes or 30-yard passes from that range. And, when there's still a lot of space between you and the end zone, and you can take advantage of the Giants' issues in the secondary sometimes and what have you. The Giants played a lot of man versus the Steelers. I expect them to do the same to you, and we all know how much Jaden Daniels loves man coverage. So take advantage would be what I'd say there.
Yeah, so I think at game predictions, we're out of time here.
Yeah.
I think Washington wins this game. They will probably suffer a little bit of a letdown early, just kind of coming down off the high of last week. So I don't think we're going to see one of these like 40-10 games like they've put up a couple times this year. I think it'll be a little bit less than that. And the mistakes last week kind of were concerning a little bit. So, I mean, I think this is more of like a high 20s to, like 28. I'll call 27 to 17.
Yeah, I'll go 26 to 13.
I do think that the team bounces back pretty well offensively. I'm gonna say they get to 31. I'm gonna be optimistic, and but the Giants will probably put up like 21 points. It'll be a good win, but not great. So I think that wraps it up for this week's episode. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Later.
Later.